IBL, we're on a mission. Controversial discussion, from family addition to money to marriage, and it's FJ. What's in between the lines?
Girl, yes, we're gonna talk about it all. Family, blended family, how hard it was for us to blend together. We're gonna talk about money. We're even gonna talk about emotional affairs, girl. I can't wait.
We got engaged and everything was going great. And we were supposed to get married in March, so we got engaged in December, supposed to get married in March. In January is when he told me that he had a baby on the way.
What's up, everybody? I'm AD.
And I'm Sharee.
We want to welcome you back again to another episode of
IBL In Between
the Lines.
Yes.
Come on, let's go. I hope you enjoyed the last one.
Yes, and
how we
kind
met
of
and
left
all
them
that.
with a little cliffhanger, so sorry about that.
But one part we left out, though. One part we left out is we went on our honeymoon.
Yes, we did.
We went on our honeymoon, and when we came home,
A bomb went off.
a bomb went off, yo. You want to tell them about the bomb, baby?
I don't want to talk about that.
You want to talk about the bomb?
No.
We made national news.
No, we didn't make no national news.
We made local news.
we did make local news, and literally. And our wedding was very interesting. Not to even rehash a lot of that stuff because it's so long ago. And a lot of those people we're still connected to, so we don't want to. We don't want to kind of take a Band-Aid or a scab off of old wounds. But I will say this. When we got off of the plane, for some reason, me and Arnold getting married agitated people. So there was a lot of conversations and gossip and people like they're not going to make it 6 months. All this stuff. The pastors that actually were marrying us and stuff like that were conflicting. And it was just messy. It really was. And honestly, when we, on our 20th, I just really want to get remarried. And I just feel like, I don't know.
We're going to do it, baby.
But it was just a lot of mess. And I feel like, as soon as we came off the honeymoon, we're saying like that after we got engaged, but really after we got married, that's when everything went to hell. Yeah. Or maybe everything came out of hell.
Yeah. But we're here.
Yeah.
We made it past the 6 months that they tried to curse us.
They tried to word curse us, y'all.
And here
Don't
we
let
going
people
on
word curse
19 years strong.
Yes.
And that adversity and all that stuff that we went through when all that went down was a sign that the enemy was mad.
Yeah. You can be dating somebody for 10 years, shacking up, having sex, doing all those things. But as soon as you put a ring on that thing and you get married, the enemy's like,
Right.
They think they want to legitimize something.
Right.
And I really feel like all hell kind of comes against marriages, people when they get married, and people don't have to understand that, especially kingdom marriages.
Yeah.
Because the enemy's afraid of what you're going to birth, because kingdom marriages birth kingdom kids.
Yeah. Come on.
You know?
Preaching. Come on.
Just saying.
Listen, this is part 2, and I want us to go a little bit into in depth about some other stuff.
I need to pray. I got to pray first. I go to my prayer closet.
Oh my God. Amen.
Amen.
So, where do you want to start with this one?
I mean, I guess we just start when it gets crazy. All right.
Push play. Pause. Don't look for the play button, babe.
Oh, okay. Like, where is it? It's invisible. Where's the play button?
Come on.
All right, what are we doing?
Where it got interesting.
Okay, so it got interesting. Honestly, like, it got interesting. Here we are. We met. Everything is going great. He met my family. He met my dad. He already knew my sisters, and everybody just really started falling in love with him. We got engaged, and everything was going great. And we were supposed to get married in March, so we got engaged in December, supposed to get married in March. In January is when he told me that he had a baby on the way.
I told you that in January, or I told you that sitting in front of the car when we were dating?
Okay, you're right. All right, so let me rewind the story because I don't want to paint him as some like gigolo.
Right.
Or gigolo.
Gigolo?
Jingle. Anyway, so in October when we were like yes, we're going to kind of pursue this in a dating manner or whatever,
Right.
or whatever the kids say today, because apparently dating is different than what we think. But back in the day, it was dating. He said, listen, I got to tell you something. A family member told me about an ex that I was dating, and when they saw her, she appeared to be pregnant. She hasn't called me. I don't know if the baby is mine or not, but I want to just at least let you know. Now, mind you, Arnold already had 2 kids. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, I don't know if it's just what I wanted to hear, and I just interpreted it in my little brain. But in my mind, I heard there's a girl that could potentially be pregnant, but don't worry about it. The baby ain't mine.
That's what you heard.
That's what I heard, but that's not what you said. I understand that, but that's what I heard. Y'all feeling me, ladies? That's what I heard, okay? That's what I heard. And so I was like, all right, hey, we good. So we move forward, and I move forward, like just kind of put it to the back of my brain. And we just moving forward. We got engaged in December. And then my son Cameron gets sick. And so Cameron's 20 now, but at the time he was like, 1, whatever the math is. And so he was in a hospital for 6 days, and it was just a really, really, really hard time. And they were trying to get his breathing under control, and it was hard. And matter of fact, you even stayed in the hospital with us. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so at some point in the 6-day stay, Arnold's phone rings, okay? And his phone rings, all right? I'll try to get there. I promise you, I'm trying to get there. And so his phone rings, and I hear, from the sound waves, of him being on the phone, me being nosy.
Yes.
Arnold, and I'm going to change the name to protect the innocent or the guilty. And let's say her name was Monica, and she was like, Arnold, this is Monica. I'm in the hospital. I had the baby, and yes, the baby is yours. And we need a car seat, and blah, blah, blah. So he hangs up, and like the thermometer of my life just started rising. Like it just went like from cold to hot. Like, what is going on? So Arnold's all calm, which is agitating. You know what I'm saying? It's agitating. Like, why are you calm? So now I'm manifesting. Let me calm down.
Yeah.
So Arnold's all calm. He was like, that's the girl I was telling you about. I haven't talked to her, but she did call me from the hospital. And I'm thinking to myself, I heard it. I heard it. Okay. And so I don't know if it's that day or the next day, he goes to the hospital. Now, mind you, hindsight, he should have went to the hospital. But in my immature place, feeling blindsided, feeling like, oh my God, I'm being set up again, because I'm going to talk about that, why it triggered me so much. I was angry. I was like, leave her where she lie. Like, I was angry. And so, did you not know that I was angry?
I'm not angry. I could feel.
Okay.
You were hurt or upset. That's what I felt, and I felt bad. But I could only go as far for me inside feeling for you, which was 100. But there was still we did talk about it.
That's what God.
That's irrelevant to you.
I did tell you. Like, I did tell you potentially, maybe, like 1 out of a million chance that somebody be pregnant, and you did. And then now reality is smacking us in the face here, right?
Ooh, yeah.
It was a big smack in the face, and so we're going through all this other stuff too, like all the gossip, all the like accusations. Come to find out that the pastors that married us, we're not gonna put their business out there, but they wasn't all on the up and up.
Get ready to go to blows.
Going to blows. The pastor wasn't living a righteous life. Let's just say that he wasn't practicing what he was preaching. And so around our wedding,
pastors.
Well, at that time, no. At that time, I lied, y'all. Back up. We weren't even married yet. But we left for the one church and then went to the other church. All that came out after in March.
Okay,
We're
yes.
still in January. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of ourselves. So at this point, he goes to the hospital and he comes back and he's like, he had a little girl, and he's like, talking about the little girl, and he's just like, oh, she's really cute and stuff. In my mind, I was like, I don't care. Like, no, I don't care. I don't care. What is happening in my mind, right? I'm bringing you into that moment. And so I remember him saying like, oh, she needs a car seat. Now I was like, here we go. Now listen, that mother was doing the right thing. She's like, we made this baby together. I'm gonna need a car seat, right? More power to her. But sitting on the opposite side of just even hearing, I just think the whole thing was crazy. Like, you hold the fact that you're pregnant for 9 months, and then when you had the baby, now you need
not seen, not heard from.
Now you need
nothing.
resources. Like, women, don't do that. Like, what? Like, that's wrong. I don't think women should do it, period. I don't think women should withhold children or the news of children from the person they procreated with, period. But if you bad and you gonna do it for 9 months, keep on doing it. No, I'm joking. I'm not saying. I'm just saying the whole thing was messed up. It was messed up how we found out about your daughter. It was just, everything was just thrown in your face. And at that time, I think you might have even been between jobs.
I was in between jobs. Yeah.
So
the one company was laying off.
Yep. And so he just got laid off, and she told me she needed a car seat. And so one thing about me, even though I didn't like the situation, I still I had a very kind heart back then. I mean, I have a kind heart now too. But I had a really kind heart.
Back then.
I was just like, all right, let's just try to get through this. And I remember going, we went to the store and got her a car seat. Yep. We got her some other stuff. And I think you ended up taking it back up to the hospital. And then the journey begins. And, and our journey into being introduced to this little girl's life was hard. The mother, I'm not going to talk about her too much because it's not about her. But let's just say at that time when we decided to get married, both of your baby's moms did not make it easy for us for the first 15, 20 years of their life. I feel like there was not a day that one of them wasn't calling, being nasty, or you can't all suddenly now see your kids. We're fighting, arguing.
Years.
Y'all think I'm joking. It was like from day one all the way up until she was like 15, or when did we get custody of her?
15.
Yeah, like 14 or 15 years old. It was always a fight to see her. It was always, going to court for this. And it was hell. It was. And I remember right before we got married, right before, March, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this.
Yeah.
Because at that time, then the second baby mom started getting like cranky. It was like when they realized we was going to get married, it was like they got together and was like, we got to stop this for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Right? Am I lying?
No. That's what it felt like.
No, that's what it was. And because at one point, then you stopped being able to see your sons.
Well, that was going on almost their whole life.
Well,
but
yeah,
we're going to talk about all of this.
We're going to talk about all of it.
Yes.
We're going to talk about all of it and how we got through it, how to this day I'm able to hug both of them. You know what I'm saying? And
even
how
yesterday.
Even just as of yesterday, I hugged. There's no animosity there. It's just we live and we grow. That's a big win for me.
Yes, it is, baby.
But we're going to talk about the mistakes that we made while trying to blend our families together.
Yeah, blended families. Listen.
Studies show that I think 85% of the families in America are blended.
Ooh.
Wait, that might have been a single mom statistic. But there's a high statistic. I'm going to have to look it up and we'll put it in the description. But it's a very high statistic now of growing blended families. Because let's just face it, most people... I shouldn't say most, but it's like most people have a child before they get married.
That is true.
Somebody, the husband or the wife, somebody.
A child or children.
Done tiptoed and created.
Yeah.
Right?
Man, yeah, this is good.
And we had a couple. You had 3 coming into the marriage, and I had Cameron. So instantly, we had 4 kids.
Instantly.
And then
some things happen. Magic. Yo, listen. Hope you enjoyed that podcast. We're going to be back talking about blended families. We're going to talk about blended
it's a
families.
Thing. And looking back, babe, you made a lot of mistakes. No, I'm joking.
Jesus.
No, I'm just teasing.
You hear this?
We made a lot of mistakes. It was a lot of emotion.
Yeah.
It was a lot of ego, a lot of pride.
But that's where immaturity. And you grow,
yeah.
right? There's grace and you grow.
But I want, if you guys are listening or somebody's listening and you're embarking on this journey of blending your families, I want you to stay tuned because we're going to expose what we did wrong. And even me as the wife, what I could have done to really de-escalate a lot of the arguments or a lot of the situations that happened.
Let's do that. I had 3. She had 1. My buddy, my main man, my son Cameron.
Yes.
All right. And instantly, we were a blended family.
Yeah.
We didn't have any kids on our own yet.
Together.
Yeah. Together. And so we want to talk to you guys about some of the mistakes that we made as a blended family. We did grow and we, as years went on, we grew, but we made a lot of bad mistakes. You'll hear, I believe in this podcast, a lot of immaturity from me. I'm sure she'll share some of her stuff, maybe some insecurities. There could have been some things there. I don't know. We're going to just talk about it and let's just see what happens.
What comes out.
All right, come on, let's go.
So I think that we should kind of talk about it in the format of like, what are the top mistakes that we made while trying to blend our family?
Let's do it.
We're writing a book on that, y'all.
Yeah.
And so we're going to make it more of a an adventure. But I think that you probably have top 10 and I have top 10. And together we got top 20.
Yeah.
But because there's different mistakes that you make in your world handling two I hate the term baby mom, but because it sounds so ghetto.
That's what it is.
But it is. But and I had a baby dad, and so there was a lot of expectations. It's some unspoken expectations. I had an unspoken expectation being young and coming into this situation, this circumstance that there would be healthy boundaries, that there would be, my expectations maybe that I'll be involved or, you know what I mean, that my feelings mattered. And there were a lot of circumstances that demonstrated the opposite of those things.
Yeah.
Not intentionally, right? But the reality is that's what it felt like for me.
Yeah.
And then potentially on the flip side, you might have not felt maybe unsupported.
In some areas, unsupported. In a lot of areas, supported, though.
Okay.
A lot of areas supported, but in some areas felt unsupported, but I understood.
Okay.
I understood.
Yeah, and so I know right before we got married, and I said this in the last episode, like I was kind of recontemplating if I want to move forward.
Yeah, we both,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so when I found out about, when it was, let me say this, when it was concrete, found out like this is his child and he was accepting that responsibility, it really triggered me and I felt betrayed even though it wasn't betrayal. So that's weird. I literally felt like I can identify with the woman that their husband cheated on them and had a baby out the marriage. That's what it felt like. So that's why it was so hard. And it probably because this situation that I was dealing with you, I literally had that same exact situation in my previous relationship.
Yes.
So I just felt stupid. I just felt like, what is wrong with me that I keep, being in these situations. And so there was a lot of like self-guilt or what did you miss? Or it was just a bad time.
It
was a bad time.
Yeah.
And so I proceeded. We both proceeded. We were getting hit so much, but it's nothing but God that one of us did not show up at the wedding.
I agree, but I think this is what I felt.
Okay.
I felt where we both were outside of God. I still think we needed each other. I still feel like we probably didn't recognize or feel this way, but I really felt like we needed each other. I felt like where we were, how we were, who we were, and who we grown to be as friends, it was necessary for us to be together at that time. Now, we've had the doubts.
And the only reason why I have the doubts is because, not that, I mean, I know we're supposed to be together, but the doubts because it was so hard.
Right.
And it was like...
No, I'm saying why we showed up at the wedding.
Oh, why we showed up?
Yeah. There's a reason why we showed up, but we didn't show up because we didn't want to let people down. We showed up because...
I was pregnant?
No. Oh. Why did we show up at the wedding? Why did we move forward with getting married?
Because I do believe we loved each other.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying.
But I mean, the cat's out the bag. I was also pregnant.
Yeah. Pause. Yeah.
Maybe we'll take that out the podcast.
No, it is what it is. That's still in between the lines.
Yeah,
It's life. It's life.
It is life. We tried, y'all. We tried, but we messed up a few times before we got married. So within that 6 months, we did not set. And we're going to do a podcast on how do you set healthy boundaries.
Yeah, healthy boundaries.
So you don't find yourself
pregnant at the altar.
Right, with your legs in the air. Like talking about, oh my God. And we're not going to go into that. So in between lines. So what I was saying was there was so much going on, that situation. I think it was like I was only like 3 weeks or 4 weeks pregnant before we got married.
Yeah.
I found out and I was like, oh my God, I'm such a Jezebel. Like I was just like so self-condemning because the reality is we really were wanting to live a holy life.
Yes, I agree.
And so I remember even the first time, not putting our business out there, but the first time we did it, I cried.
You did. And I was scared.
He thought I was going to cry rape because after we did it, I just cried and cried. Because I literally was just like, I just broke Jesus' heart. Because I had a covenant with God and I was like, I don't want to keep having sex before marriage, And so even in, I communicated that as we went into our courtship and datingship and things like that. And so, I don't know. I call myself fertile. If I can get my two side, we probably had 20 more kids. So you can blow on me, I get pregnant.
That's true.
But anyway, we digress. So let's talk about the blended part. And I'll say what was the hardest thing for me in the marriage, being blended. Well, let me say this. The top mistake that I believe that I made while we were trying to blend was that I was very self-protecting of my territory, ego, and your
brand.
My brand, my marriage. And so all these baby moms, to me was a detriment to that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Mm-hmm.
To this ideal family. And it was just oh my God. Now that I'm thinking about it, because we haven't really talked about it in so many years, it was hard. It was hard being in my early 20s and balancing stepkids with their mothers. There's no book for that.
No. There's no book for it. It was hard. It was extremely hard. And maybe in this podcast, emotions and thoughts will come out that we never even shared.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
And even in this podcast, real time, we're going to display grace, love.
I appreciate that.
And all those things.
Yeah.
Okay? And so as we get real and stay in between the lines, I don't know what's going to come out. Nothing may not, but just in case, right? I think.
Well, what you mean by that?
In between the lines. We're in between the lines. Listen, anyway, girl. It was very hard. And then just what you were just honest about, just protecting your space, your brand, right? And that's natural, right? That's natural. For me, I was lost. I was completely lost. I think for years, when I met you, is when I felt like I woke up. I really felt like for years, for a couple of years, I was kind of like, what you call it? Autopilot? What you call it?
In survival mode?
In survival mode, but you just kind of like existing.
Yeah.
You're not feeling. You're just existing. You're just
You
going.
just try and survive from day to day.
Yeah, and that's a story. That's a
whole episode.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
Yeah. So, and that's just kind of where I was. So when I think here's something that'll come out that I didn't share. Now that we're talking about it, cut it out. I think when the news broke about my daughter being born, X, Y, and Z in the hospital, the calmness was because I was numb. I was numb, right? I was numb, but it could have been a survival numbness.
You like, I gotta.
No, survival is how do I handle this phone call from this person from Monica on the other end?
Right.
But how do I now handle the reaction, the possible reaction and emotions from you? Watch this.
Yeah.
Being in the hospital with our son.
Yeah, that was
going through what he's going through. I think survival numbness kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
That I had to the protector kicked in. I had to protect from and block out.
Who was you protecting? You feel
myself.
Okay, yourself.
Yeah, I had to protect myself.
You like this chick? I don't really know her like that. She could just flip up at this piece.
Yeah, because you cried when we.
Right. That was like because I value my commitment to the Lord.
Medicine. Anyway,
don't take no medicine.
So I think I was just numbed. I think I was just like I just didn't know what to do. Didn't know. I just was like, let me just flow.
Yeah.
Let me just deal with whatever comes.
And that's
next.
what it looked like. Because like I said, he was just like, all right, well, I'm going to go to the hospital. I'm like, what, the hospital? Like, in my mind.
No, you don't remember. I asked you, I said, you don't mind me going. You was like, well, you got to. That's what you said.
Oh,
and that
maybe I was more mature then than I am now.
No,
I don't
you
know.
was like, you have to.
I
like
said
you,
that?
Yes.
Oh, maybe
you
okay.
said that. You said that. And you was like, what are you going to do? You going to stop and grab the car seat on the way from the store? You said all of that, but I could see it in your eyes.
That's not how I felt, though.
I know that's not how you felt. But
I knew it was the right thing to do.
Here's what I felt. I felt when you said, get the car seat on the way, blah, 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 I was like, this girl loves me. I felt that. And but I was like, even though I told her about this situation, I just hurt her.
Yeah.
So on the way there, I'm not even thinking about, I'm excited, like, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. That's a natural reaction. But I'm nervous and I'm like, let me take a peek because all my kids look like me anyway. So all that's going through my head.
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, I'm really thinking about what I felt from you going there. And I have to come back to this hospital with our son. I think Kim had tubes.
Yeah,
or
it
something.
was bad.
Yeah,
he had breathing tubes and stuff.
Yeah, it was like, it was a bad situation. And so for me, I'll say I was numbed. That's what I really felt like was going on with me at the time. And we were going, through a lot. But, that's how I felt.
So what would you say, like, the top blending mistake that you made?
The top blending mistake I made was, I think, actually the blending part. I don't think I invested enough time in trying to make sure that I could blend well together. Like, for instance.
It was like them and then us.
Yeah, but that wasn't necessarily my fault, too. So let me back up. I wasn't allowed to see them.
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to come over and get them.
Yeah.
One of my sons got in trouble the same weekend that the mom said he ain't coming over your house.
Yeah.
And he got in trouble, some serious trouble, that same weekend that we were supposed to pick him up.
Yeah.
So, even though I was trying, she's my witness, she's not going to sit here and lie. I pursued. what I wanted to do,
which is a whole nother episode on how the children of mothers treat their baby fathers. They use the children as pawns because they're wounded, they're not together anymore, they don't like the situation. And I say this all the time as a woman, unless that father is crazy, putting your child in an environment that, their life is in jeopardy, or, they're in jeopardy, let that child see the father, whether y'all together or not.
Yeah.
That is irrelevant.
Yeah.
But so many women use their children as pawns to try to hurt the father, and it's so wrong.
I agree. Where was I?
So you were talking about the biggest mistake that you made was blending.
So I'm trying to blend. So what I wanted so I'm going to say it was a big mistake because I still think I could have fought harder.
Well, I
was tired.
He was tired, but I used to always tell him, take her to court.
But I was tired of.
I would literally be like, I remember twice in the trajectory of the years, I went and printed paperwork, completed it, and gave it to him and said, take her to court for visitation.
Yeah.
And he would never file. He would never do it.
And there's a story there's a reason why I had this thing about standing in front of the judge.
Yeah,
and so
a lot of black men do.
There's a lot of black men do, but this black man has his own.
Right.
Right? And there's reasons. And so at the same time too, I could have fought. I could have done that, and I could have fought
harder.
Yeah, I could have fought harder, but what I wanted to do was bring my kids together because one of the things I knew was that she was safe. I could bring them around and they would be safe.
Absolutely.
What I did not know was how she would interact, though. I didn't know how you would interact with them either. So a lot was going through my mind.
I mean, you talking about over the years?
No, in the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because in the beginning when we were dating, I met your sons. And remember we went out, we would take them to the stores.
Right,
and
but
stuff.
bringing them into the house as a blended kind of thing, doing life together and stuff like that. I wasn't sure how your response, we got married in 6 months.
That's true, because you really don't know me.
Right, you feel what I'm saying? And so, and
That's true.
you're forever
That's true.
learning your spouse.
That's true.
That never stops. And so I think I could have did more with trying to blend together and trying to bring everyone together more, because even today, even though they ask for each other and different things, there's still a lot of space.
There's a lot of space
in between them.
Yeah, there are, like the kids that were raised in the house with us, including my son. Arnold adopted Cameron when we got married, so Cameron actually has Arnold's last name. So he was raised as one of the four. He's one of the four in the house that we were able to influence from infancy all the way up to adulthood.
Yeah.
But the ones that lived outside of the house with their mothers, those are my children. Love them, but they don't know them.
Yeah.
And even though there's this longing, I want to know my older sister, my older brothers, there's just so much distance.
A lot.
It is a lot, and it creates this. I don't know if it creates a void, but it does create this separation in families.
Yeah.
And so we never, to be honest, guys, we got a lot of tips, and we're going to talk a lot about the mistakes.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do a lot right, to be honest.
No.
And we still never blended. We never blended.
No.
There are components that blended, with Cameron, but I'm the mother, so he lived with us.
Right.
But blending in, the three that you had blended into the culture and the life that we had, it never happened.
No, it never happened.
And that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
We tried, though. We tried.
We really did. And so, and we're still pursuing.
Absolutely.
And we're still pressing in.
Absolutely.
Now, fast forward, we have 3 together.
We do. So on top of the 4 that we had, we decided to create 3 more. It was up to you. We would have 4 more. If I get my 2s, I would have 5. We would be like those people on TV that got like 11 kids.
I agree.
We would.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a blessing.
Listen, it is a blessing. That's just not the promise that God had for us.
I agree.
7 is enough. We populated the earth. We was
Amen.
obedient, very obedient.
Amen.
But we had 3 more.
We had 3 more girls.
Girls, Jesus.
We had 3 more girls.
Yes.
And so the girls growing up with Cameron.
Yes. So it was like 3 and my son, 1 son.
Right.
Yeah.
And quick story. Just the other day, Mariah walks in the room, our youngest daughter,
Oh, Jesus.
and says, "Is Cameron my stepbrother?"
Just help me.
I don't know where to get this stuff
They
from.
need to start watching YouTube. But go
But
ahead.
anyway, so we have 3 girls, and so with Cameron being the oldest in the house,
In the house.
out of the kids we have together, Cameron and the girls grew up close, especially him and Christian because they're close.
Very close. They're only 2 years apart.
2 years apart, and they grew up close, playing together in the backyard and
Doing life, yeah.
doing life together. So that automatically happens.
Mm-hmm.
There's a message in there, and then we wait 5 years.
6 years, babe.
We
They're
wait-
6 years apart.
We wait 6 years.
And he decides to say, I want more kids.
You know where I'm going with this, right? She comes to me and tells me she wants another baby. Pump the brakes here. Okay.
Well, first of all, it was not that easy. We got
No, I didn't
prophetically
say-
rebuked about having more kids. Remember?
We did, but
and then once I said, all right, be it unto me, Lord.
she didn't talk to me.
There's the Lord. Literally, y'all, we literally got prophetically rebuked because I was like, oh, we got the little, president family, little boy, little girl, even though we have the 3, but they're living and raising them, right? And so we were good. I was good, And we started getting people, just random people in the church. I feel like it's for y'all to have more kids. And I'm like, mind your business. That's none of your business. Literally. And until we got this one prophetic rebuke by a dear friend of ours that passed away a couple years ago, Steve, who I love dearly. And he was like a father figure to us, loved him. And I remember him saying to me, and I think you were there too, he said, do you guys want more kids? And in my mind, I'm like, well, how many more y'all want us to have? We got 5, like 3 and then 2 more. And so I said, no, we're not having more kids. We're good. And, even financially, we was still on the rocks. Like we weren't where we are now. It was like we was struggling in some areas. And so I remember him saying he just began to weep. I mean, just cry. And I'm like, I'm trying to figure out why me not wanting to open up my wound making you cry. This is what I'm thinking. Why he's like weeping. And I'm sitting there like, staring at him, let him get his cry out. And then he begins to proceed to say that he hates when God basically inspires him to give couples prophetic words about more children because he wasn't able to bear any children himself.
Yeah.
And I was like, gut punch. But anyway, he began to proceed to prophesy about our children that we will have and that they'll be anointed and all these things. And you would have thought that would have been enough. It wasn't. I still wasn't convinced I was supposed to have more kids. But so time goes on and eventually we talked about it and we were like, all right, let's do it.
Right.
Right. And it took almost a year for me to get pregnant. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I didn't get pregnant right away.
No, you didn't.
It was like a blockage and there was some stuff going on.
Yeah.
And then God had to prophetically even speak to that. We were in a conference one time and a lady says, it was Pam.
Oh, yeah.
Pam Hackett. You remember?
Yeah.
We were at a conference and Pam Hackett says, she's a good dear friend of ours, very prophetic minister. She said, there's somebody in here, and it was about 200 people in the room. There's somebody in here that's been trying to get pregnant, but they haven't. And so I just sat there because I was kind of waiting for like, if there's anybody else, but nobody stood up. And I was like, hello, it's us. So I stood up and I was the only person that stood up. She was like, and she knew it. She was like, I didn't know you guys were having an issue. And I was like, what's the word?
It's the only time.
Right. It's the only time, right? And anyway, she said, well, God said that there's a blockage and today this blockage is broken. She began to speak over my life. It was amazing. And I want to say I was pregnant in like 2 weeks. It wasn't
but
it wasn't that fast, but.
But you also got a word in San Diego.
Yes.
Before,
Oh,
right before.
Pastor Tom.
Yes.
Pastor Tom, at the time, was our pastor, and we started doing some traveling with them. And Pastor Tom, we're eating dinner, minding our own business, and he just starts laughing. And
we're at Cheesecake Factory.
We're at Cheesecake Factory. Yeah, that's the first time I've been there too. Anyway, so Pastor Tom looks at us and says, "You guys want more kids?" And I mean, at this point, they like the fourth, fifth person, and we were like, "No, we're good."
Right.
And he kept shaking his head, "No, buy one get one free." He kept saying, "Buy one get one free." So in my mind, I'm like, not one kid, but two. The devil is a liar. And I literally said to him, "I don't receive that word. I don't want more kids." At that point, I was really adamant. I just didn't want more kids. It was a lot going on between you and I.
Yeah.
We were not, even the money to get the money to go out there, we were struggling. It was a miracle.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'm not bringing more kids in this world when we're struggling in our marriage, we're struggling in our finances. And that's pretty much your whole life, marriage and finances at that point. But he just kept saying, "Buy one, get one free."
Yeah.
And so I can't say that now without explaining what that meant.
Yeah.
So basically, what the buy one, get one free meant was we ended up getting pregnant. God broke and healed whatever he needed to heal. And I ended up getting my tubes tied because I was like, "We did it. Yay. Pat on the back."
Right.
We did it. And now we got 3 in the house. And I got my tubes tied. I was signing up for a Zumba class. I was going to get the snatch back. I was going to be ready. And I had to get another operation, just something outside of that.
Yeah.
And you know how they run blood work. They run blood work when you get pregnant. And they called me at my job and said, "We need you to come in," because the blood work basically showed that I was pregnant, even though I got my tubes tied. And I lost it.
At work.
At work, crying like, you would have thought they called and said you have a terminal disease. But they was like, now mind you, I was pregnant with Micah. No, I had Micah. Micah was 3 months.
Yes.
Right? She was 3 months. My tubes already was tied, and they telling me that I'm pregnant. So that's crazy. So I go to the hospital. All the doctors is there. They do the ultrasound, everything. They're thinking I'm pregnant in my tubes. Lo and behold, when they put me up to the ultrasound, they kept saying the baby made it to your uterus. Basically, you're pregnant. And I was just like, I don't know. A lot of that was a blur because I just went like into zombie mode for the whole pregnancy.
Well, we were both numbed.
Yeah, we were just like,
definitely.
And now my girls are they're 11 and 12.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my God. We can't see life without them.
We'll do a podcast with them.
Yeah, we'll do we should bring them on a podcast.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. But they're just meant to be here. They're super uber anointed and they love God. But it was hard. So then at that point, we just went so fast from having 2, and then our family doubled within the house to having 4.
Yeah.
And I remember one day you was like, "This is a lot."
It's too much.
It felt like they was twins because they're only 12 months apart.
Yeah.
So, and then we had ministry.
And Tao and Christian is 9.
And yeah, like.
And Tamir is 10.
That show y'all that he don't wait. He don't wait that 6 weeks, y'all. If all your kids...
Pause. In between the lines. Come on.
So, but blended.
Yeah.
Here's my last mistake. I mean, I made a lot, and we'll keep talking about it. But my second mistake, my first mistake I told y'all was ego and pride, and really just being very protective of what we had as a family unit. And so because there were just a lot of threats coming from a lot of the baby's moms, and it was, at the time Arnold was making okay money. He was working in the school system, but I was making a lot of money. And so I think they got it twisted. I think they felt like if they kept taking you to court, that they would get my money.
Crazy.
Look, wait a minute. Y'all not getting my money. Like my money, you don't get child support based off of the wife's money.
Right.
But anyway, and so I think they saw like the way we were living. We started living really well, bought a 4-bedroom house, and there was a lot of jealousy, I think, and a lot of,
I think so. Yeah.
and I can't speak for them, but it just felt like the better we did, the greater the attacks from them came.
Yeah.
Whether it presented itself in the form of not seeing the kids, constantly going to court trying to up the child support every other month. It felt like it was just a mess. And then, so my mistake, I'll say this, was I did not think of the kids first.
Okay.
It felt
so
like,
explain that.
It felt like a war between us adults. And in the meantime,
yes,
the kids are suffering.
Yes.
Because it's just contentious, it's arguments. And it made me, to some degree, like, I guess I'll just confess, like, maybe it made me resent the kids, like, in a weird way. Like, I never, ever treated them bad, but I didn't think about them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I didn't go out of my way as your wife to pursue them too. Right?
I hear you.
Because that situation, when I thought about the kids, it was just turmoil. Not the kids, but you think about the mother. You think about, who wants to go through begging to see the child, or can they come over for their sibling's birthday?
Yeah.
So instead of really like pursuing it and ignoring all the foolishness and saying it's about the kids and pursuing it, I didn't do that either.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. We can end with this. Let me ask you a question. Was it hard to accept being a mother with now 7? No, let me back up. Was it hard to accept when we first got married? Mm-hmm. Was it hard to accept the role of stepmom? Like the idea of it. Was it hard?
Yeah, because I was 23, 24. I was so young.
Yeah.
If I was in my 30s or even 40s like now, there's a level of maturity that you feel. I'm still getting adjusted to just being a mother of the children that I birthed. And so it felt awkward. It felt awkward to have someone call you stepmom that you didn't birth, nurture, naturally
what
grow to
about
love.
even in public? Like if someone says, "Oh, who are these?" and I say, "These are our blah blah blah," or was it uncomfortable saying these are my stepkids?
I always was okay for some reason. It was, and maybe to this day it's still hard to say my kids because I never technically bonded with them.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, I started bonding with Talia when she lived with us.
Right.
And I love all of them. I would never want any harm. But I started, like, loving her. You know what I'm saying?
That was different because she
was with us.
Right.
Right. Like, I mean, y'all have to understand, like, we would see them, like, once every 3 months.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
If that. And there were times we would see them twice a year. And so it's hard to bond and say these my stepkids. Like, to me, they were Arnold's kids, and that I know used to hurt you because I would be like, "Oh, these are Arnold's kids," and I would have to explain the whole breakdown. Like, Cameron's mine, these are our 3 we created, and people looking at us like, "What in the heck is going on in this family?"
Yeah. So, fast forward. Mm-hmm. Is it uncomfortable? So, our 2 oldest, Damir and Tamir,
they're in their 30s now.
Damir's married with kids. He has 4 beautiful kids, 2 girls, 2 boys. Tamir just had his first beautiful daughter.
Yeah.
They're grandkids now.
Yeah, they
Is
are.
that hard to say in front of people?
It's not even about in front of people. It's hard to say, period. Yes.
Well, I was going to say that and both of them, but
yeah, because the people don't, like, I don't care. Like, the people don't weigh, even if it was just me and you talking, it's hard to claim them as my own.
I hear you.
Because maybe if I bonded with their parents, then it would feel like I could say, and there's like something behind me, like they're probably like, if I say claim them as they're my grandkids, that they would be like, I almost feel like they haven't accepted me either.
I hear you.
So it's like this, I guess, and I don't know, maybe we're talking about it now, so it's kind of therapy. Like, I guess there's just like this fear of rejection. Like, if I'd be like, oh, they're my grandkids or whatever. And I don't think any of them would do that. I don't.
Right.
I don't. But there's just feeling that I don't have a right to call them my grandkids because I never really bonded with them.
Were you a G-Ma?
Yeah, I am a G-mom. But even when our biological kids have kids, I'm not going to be a grandmom. I'm going to be
G-mom.
A Mimi or Mimi, whatever the people they call the young grand Mimi. But yeah, so that's real.
Real talk.
Like, I feel,
talk.
for some reason, though, I just feel this, that if Talia would have a child, please, Lord, not before her time, that I would feel more comfortable with Talia's child calling me grandma.
Right.
Because at some point I bonded with Talia.
Yeah.
And not that I don't love the boys, I had a relationship with her. Her and I used to sit up and talk. There were times where she wasn't fooling with you and she would be talking to me. There was a point when she called me mom, like not even stepmom.
I agree.
And so I like love her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like because that connection is there, it would be easier to say, you know, come to, you know, I would claim that. But I'm going to work on claiming the 5, because I don't want there to feel like there's rejection, because to them, I'm their step grandma.
But there has to be connection.
There has to be relationship.
There has to be connection. There has to be relationship.
Yeah.
There has to be.
That's why I would love for them to come over more. And even as we're like guys, we said it, we told on ourselves that we could talk about this stuff because we made a lot of bad mistakes, right? And I want to be blended. And even if it takes to them getting older and we can say we finally did it, we're not going to not stop pursuing the goal of blending our family.
The last piece I want to bring up, and we can definitely end it here. We're like the preachers that has like 9 closings.
Yeah.
One of the fears of men
that
we have when we marry a woman who has a kid is that one day you'll hear, "You not my dad anyway." Man, that is.
But none of our kids have ever said that to us.
No, never. But that's a fear.
Yeah, and it's real.
That's a real thing.
Like, you raising this child, you blessed, blood, sweat, and tears, finances, investment. And they get to a 16-year-old age and they say, "You ain't my dad." Cameron, thank God, never ever. Cameron, like, in my opinion, adopted you just as much as you adopted him as his father.
He has.
To this day, Cameron will say, "Yes, I got another dad." He calls his dad biological dad because he wasn't raised by him. That's a whole nother story. But he says, "That's my dad. Like, Arnold is my dad." They have even a lot of the same gifts and the same mannerisms. That's true. I pray for Cameron's kids, Jesus, because he even disciplines and talks to his sisters like he's Arnold, you know.
Yeah, Cam. No, it's messing. Oh man, this has been good. I hope this
has been therapy for us. If it didn't bless y'all, it blessed us.
Yeah, I hope this blessed you guys. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so that you can stay connected to all the new videos that's coming out. Again, we're excited. Yes. I'm AD.
And I'm Sharee.
And we are
IBL. What are we?
In Between the Lines.
In Between the Lines.
God bless you. Hey, make sure you like and subscribe.
And hit that bell icon for more updates.